going to get this right. I'm going to get this right. I'm going to get this right. Hi, it's Amanda from Leta's Textiles and My Autistic Life. Usually, this is part of the show where you get a cute clip from the show showing you why you want to listen to the show. However, our guest today, Sabrina Osso of Osso Safe Homes, and Leta and I are discussing a very adult topic. Not that we're not discussing adult topics. I mean, what kid wants to listen to a bunch of therapists discuss what's going on with therapy? But this episode focuses on Sabrina's program, Osso Safe, and focuses on how we can help children understand they have the right to live in a home free of DV and how they can ask and state which adult in their life they feel is safe when and if those options are available. We also talk about the O Safe homes that Sabrina is starting, where they are trying to stop domestic violence before it happens. We do discuss some issues in the dance world. We discuss also some issues both Leta and I have had with SA. Because of this, trigger warning. If this is a subject you are not comfortable with, I understand. Also, parental warning, because usually, you can have the podcast on while kids are around. It may be a more adult podcast, but hey, let the children listen to how to properly do speech therapy or what a parental advocate is. This one, as a parent, I would have my as a parent, I would suggest listening to this before you let your children listen to it, unless they're like Leta and I are, and unfortunately experience this way too early in life. I would say sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. But this isn't one I can say that to. I hope you learn something from this show or get something out of it. We are going to also include some resources in the description below, and all of Sabrina's resources for Osso Safe Home, including videos and everything, will be living on our website under our autistic resources page on the website.
I'm Leta, that's my mom, this is Person.
That is her introduction to the podcast. We're still working on introducing. Sabrina, thank you for coming on. I have learned that when I introduce our guest, I sound like a robot to the point that it has been dinged by like Google and places as I am AI. So would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure, that's okay. Oh, this is so great. I'm so excited to be on the podcast with the both of you. My name is Sabrina Osso from Osso Safe. Feel safe where you live, learn, work, and play. I am a TEDx speaker, a children's book author, a dancer, a dance teacher, and a real estate agent on creating and maintaining respect in homes, workplaces, and schools. So this is so exciting.
I was really excited when you reached out because within the autistic community, the rates of abuse are high, like I told you during our pre-interview, and learning not just for the kids, but even for the parents that you can set boundaries and you don't have to deal with it is something we don't do a great enough job of explaining in our community.
Yes, and I didn't realize that it's so elevated in uh i- with autism. And I think it's just elevated across the board, but it sounds like from our pre-interview it's even more elevated, and you would think there needs to be more care and even more pronounced respect, but it's like the opposite. So it's definitely a learning curve, an education that needs to happen, and a practice where it's practiced, which is what we'll talk about on this interview, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know both Leta and I during the pre-interview were talking about some of the situations we have faced before. Both of us have had issues with people crossing that line. And I know a lot of, even when I went through it, I was abused by a teacher, as I told you on the interview. And the therapist afterwards, because my parents did put me in therapy, their number one thing was, well, I mean, kind of you did this. And it all led back to my autism, that because of my difference, I just wasn't good at putting up those boundaries, which kind of probably should never have been on the child itself.
Oh, yeah, of course, yes. And I'm so sorry to hear that. I mean, like I said, this is not something that it should be I don't want to say a no-brainer, but it should be so obvious, so uh, uh, laid out and established with the school, the teachers, the staff, the principal, the superintendent, everybody involved essentially. Um, and you don't have to be qualified as an autism expert to respect someone. That's ABCs. That is the groundwork. It's the foundation of what we do at Osso Safe. So no matter what the age of the child, that is, it's just it's just
It shouldn't
even.
be something. Yeah.
Go ahead. It shouldn't. You go
It
ahead.
should it shouldn't be something like you were saying. A lot of times when we talk about why we started the studio and the issues Leta had with people touching her where she didn't want to be touched as dance teachers, people are like that. Go ahead, kiddo.
So help me, last time I checked, touching my hip isn't.
See, and all of that can be established right at the beginning, the beginning of the school year, the beginning of a class, and even to repeat it as a reminder. These are the parts of the body, definitely the bathing suit parts, as we say, at school, at Also Safe, uh, and all ages. I would say bathing suit parts are off limits. I would say even the mouth area, and you can communicate with the child and the teacher, have a group meeting to say, look, she or he also does not like to be touched on the hip or anywhere on the rib cage, or because sometimes in dance, you know, we're very conscious of our bodies in dance, especially in all styles of dance. So it's good to say this right at the beginning. I don't want to be touched, and it's okay to set that boundary. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I did. They just did not care. They also used the excuse that they're also women.
Oh, see, good point, Lita. Good point. Excellent point. I find that like it's almost as if this what's happening, I think even on social media or just in the public arena, all girls are great and all boys are bad. That's not true. There's bad, there's disrespectful boys, respectful boys. There's disrespectful girls, respectful girls. So but I feel like with kids, um, all of you are so strong and yet vulnerable at the same time. So we need to really respect and practice that and really repeat it over and over again. And to like say when you're uncomfortable, hey, stop, respect my body. That's uncomfortable for me. As soon as it happens, don't wait, don't try to like, well, maybe he or she is having a bad day. No, that's an excuse. Nope, stop. Respect my body. I'm sorry, sometimes I go off on a tangent, but this is all good stuff to talk about.
Yeah. feel free to go off on a tangent. I do the same thing. She would tell the dance teachers, I would tell the dance teachers, and we would usually get, well, I mean, I know that's her boundary, but. And I'm like, the problem is there's no but. You stop at that's her boundary.
Right, right. And it's, I taught dance and I still do here and there, and I include it in what I do with Osso Safe because we go into schools of all and teach children, students of all ages. Uh, you you have to establish that boundary, and it's not something that, the teacher can still teach to respect that boundary. It's not like, oh, well, I can't teach unless I touch Lita's hip. Yes, you can. You can still teach dance. You could still get the choreography across. Your tap shoes are still going to be heard if you don't touch her hip or the shoulders, or definitely not the bathing suit parts. It's still going to come across. So why are they fighting you? Why are they making such a big deal about nothing? Nothing. It's like, okay. And I know when I taught dance, and I taught for, let's see, I taught for 10 years. And, uh, and I live in New Jersey, so I taught in a lot of places in New Jersey. When I heard a student, uh, had a boundary, whatever that may be. I had students that were, they needed their EpiPen, otherwise they would have seizures. I respected that. No problem. Do you have your EpiPen right now? No, well, go get it. We'll stop class right now. We'll go get it because we want to be preventative, versus waiting for something to happen. And then, oh my gosh, this could have been prevented. So have your EpiPen ready, have your water, whatever makes you comfortable. And, it's not about making the student feel isolated or weird or a freak. Not at all. Not at all. It's about joining everybody together. And that's what should be great about dance, is that no matter where you come from, what religion you are, what color of your skin, what type of dance you like, that's where we're there to move, right? We're there to listen to music and to choreograph and to dance and to unite, you know. So, yeah, teachers and the superintendent and the teachers, the students, the staff, it's not going to ruin their day if they to respect a student's boundary at all.
And the number of times I've had neurotypical parents of autistic kids come up to me, especially while she was in dance, going, you have to do what the dance teacher says, because there's a lot of especially every studio she's ever been in, it's like she doesn't like being hugged. It's a thing, a lot of autistic kids don't like being hugged, and the dance teachers are like, well, I can't deal with this, you have to hug me after class, everyone hugs me after class. And I'm like, if you are training the child that their boundaries can be pushed by other people, they're going to get into situations where that boundary pushing is a very bad boundary pushing, and you've taught them it's okay. So they're not going to come to you and go, hey, so and so touched me in the bathing suit area.
Excellent point. Right, because if the teacher allows it or does it, then the students are going to follow. And then it creates a lot of upset, unnecessary upset and discomfort. And how is Lita or any student supposed to learn? And dance is supposed to be joyous. It's supposed to be a good experience. It's supposed to be fun, and you're making great memories. And well, how are you supposed to do that if the teacher responds that way? I have to ask, was there more pushback from the teacher and the studio owner, or the studio owner was also had that kind of attitude also? Yeah, see, I see you nodding your
It's
head.
been
That's
multiple. Yeah,
amazing.
it's
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
and she's been her dad's military. We've been to multiple dance studios across the country, and it's always the same. It's like, but I have to do this in order to work with her. And I'm like, but you don't understand. With autistic kids, you're training them more than even their neurotypical counterparts. So when someone does cross an illegal boundary, they don't know to come to you and tell you they crossed the illegal boundary.
Right, right. Wow. And I'm so glad we're doing this podcast together because I'm getting ideas that I could even do like the Osso Safe Home Sweet Home seminar for dance teachers and dance studio owners where like it's the same whether you respect has to be established and practiced in the home, at school, university, workplace, uh, dance studio, whatever. It's the same across the board. And like I said, what would they lose by not touching a student like Leta or any student for that matter? I've had students actually, I like if they didn't want to be hugged, if they didn't want to be like I know a lot of us dance teachers, we touch in order to correct a lot of the time. Like, we touch a leg, we touch an arm, or, but if the student had any reservation, I would respect that. And I would just point and say, and I would stand next to the student, like this is your right side, this is your left side. You see the arm, you went like this, but the arm has to go down instead of up. You get the point across. You don't have to touch the student. You don't have to do anything, with the student at all. So, and especially it's all about making the student comfortable and it ruins it for everybody. So I'm so sorry, Leta and Amanda. They should know that, uh, like it's common sense, and you get your point across by no touching, no nothing, 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 and then it creates friction with the other students. Like, hey, if Miss Jane just touch Leta, then I could touch Leta too. And I don't blame you for removing her from the dance studio. And autism, no autism, it like it's just, I'm so sorry. People are, it's actually, they're being abusive. I'll say it, they're kind of being abusive, like to insist that they have to touch the student and hug the student. No.
I'm not making excuses for the abusers, but I think a lot of times that's how it starts with abusers is they don't know they're being abusive and they just kind of snowball downhill because no one has told them bad puppy, bad puppy.
Right, right. And and I'm surprised that even because you from, I wasn't there, but from what you're saying, you did your best to explain it to them, to talk to them, and I'm sure privately as well as with Lita, and you brought up, I'm sure, maybe even some statistics, excellent points, reasons, and yet they still didn't respect that. I mean, that I'm sorry, that's inexcusable, unacceptable. And like I said, my brain is like maybe I could reach out to even the studios, the dance studios that I taught in, and to say, look, if you want me to, I could even teach the teachers, and teach the studio owners. Like, look, do you want students in your studios? you it's like it's a blanket education for everybody, autism or no autism, it's like whatever. um uh like I said, I had students that needed their EpiPen and they had to have it nearby, otherwise they would have a seizure and it could be deadly. I heard of stories where, oh my, almost deadly, or at least where the consequences were they don't have use of their left side or their right side. They had a seizure and they bit their I mean, horrible things. So um yeah, it's about freedom and respect. They go hand in hand in dance as well as non-dance. So I'm so sorry that you went through all of that, but I'm so glad that now out of that pain, Lita, you got your your tap studio, right? And you're dancing on your terms. And any kids, any students that you have that have autism, oh, you're if it hasn't happened already, you're gonna know how to handle that because you're going through it and you're helping other students. So I'm gonna start crying. It's so great, you know?
Our teachers have been really great because they've heard what she's gone through and they're always asking students, can I touch you? What's okay with me touching you? Where is it okay to touch you? Which is what would benefit so many other studios. Because then, and they will back off. If a child has wanted to be touched before but doesn't want to be touched that day, the teachers will back off and go, it's okay. Do not have to deal with it.
Great. Awesome. Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that, Yeah, and I'm so glad that you didn't lose hope, because I'm sure a lot of students would have given up and just been like, we went through this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Well, there's just no hope. So I'm so glad that you you created a space where students with autism on every level can dance and they could be free and they could be respected and they can dictate uh yes, I can be touched, but you can correct me. No, today, no, no, and that's okay. And you're making it okay. So Lita, I'm so proud of you. Oh my gosh, this is so great. And I'm saying this to you as a survivor of violence. My father beat my mother on a regular basis. My mother would beat me. I'm saying this to you as a dance teacher. I'm saying this to you as the founder and CEO of Osso Safe, where respect is foundational. So I'm so proud of you. This is so great. And you're helping so many students, Lita. Oh my gosh, you and your mom, you're helping so many kids. This is so awesome. And it's about consent, right? Like there's a lot of talk
It's
about
about consent.
consent. Yeah.
And it's not just boys asking for consent for girls, like you said previously. I mean, our female teachers have to ask because even they have gone, I'm working with boys. I need to be more careful when I'm working with the boys for asking for consent just because of,
Not done that with the boys at all.
Miss Gail,
Oh.
not, she thought I was meaning dance teachers.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you meant Miss Gail. Yes, she has sanity. And like the dance teachers studios I've been to before. Except the one in New Mexico. Because I know the people from the New Mexico one are listening. I am not talking about you people at all. Except for certain ones who should know who they are. But for the rest of you people, I love you people. I am not talking about you people. I hope you don't think we're talking about you people.
I'm sure they understand. Yeah, yeah, I would think so. I would think so.
She has some very strong opinions on this, if you can't tell, as we all probably should.
I don't blame her. I don't blame her, because when you've gone through any degree of trauma or discord, or hey, you crossed my boundary, you went into my space and I asked you nicely, I clearly stated it. Yeah, you put your guards up and I get it. And it's good, Lita. It's good, it's it's appropriate, and this is for boys and girls. It's definitely you're being a good example for anybody that's gone through it, and is going to go through it. And you're like, you know, the red flags, you and your mom, you know, the red flags. So you could say, ooh, what happened in your state, in your dance studio? Ooh, you know what? You need to do, instead of XYZ, do ABC. And hopefully that will make it better. And, uh, like I like that there's so much talk about consent on social media. Like teachers, I'll see it on posts where the students come in, and then she has like a picture, she or he has a picture. How do you want to be greeted? Handshake, a high five, a hip, like a hip bump, or just a wave, or a hug. And it's their choice, right? So that is so great to exercise that, to practice that. And especially when you start getting into relationships, you already are armed with that. Like wow, whoa, this boyfriend, this girlfriend is talking about things. It's making me feel creepy. It's making me feel yucky. Bye. I don't need you. Bye. So, Lita, you're practicing that, and it's so great, and you're helping so many students. I can't, and I'm sure you and your mom, you know that after going through what you did, and uh, and like I said, in dance, it's not necessary to touch and hug and move a leg if you don't want your leg moved. A teacher can show you. It's as simple as that, without touching. Um, yeah.
That's, like I said, it's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, is because the Osso Safe program, you guys are not talking to the adults completely. You're also talking to the kids about what boundaries are and how to be respectful. And you've got an entire kids book on this to make it easier to explain to the kids.
Right. Yes, yes. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Yes. Yeah, kids are at the core of what we do at Osso Safe, because I know just growing up in my crazy house, I had nobody to help me. Not family, not friends, not neighbors, not distant family. Everybody kept quiet. So I felt like a freak. I felt like, what's wrong with me? You got to obey your parents, and they're putting food on the table for you. They put clothes on your back. They're paying for your education. You have a house. And I'm like, and growing up, I felt like I owe them. I owe them. And that's not the case at all. And if anything, growing up, and I say this in my podcast, you don't get extra credit for all those things. You put a kid on the planet, yeah, you gotta feed them, you gotta clothe them, you gotta house them. What did you think? Did you expect them to be raised by wolves? Yeah, you got to do those things. And, it's like you don't get extra credit for that. And so with that kind of thinking, because you gave me clothes and a place to live and you paid for my education, you get to beat me, you get to abuse me. I would have rather lived in a cardboard box than be beaten, or watch you beat my mom, or so you don't have to be apologetic about that, kids. So I wish I had my products and services growing up, because my parents would not have gotten away with half the things they got away with. And so I really thought long and hard about my business, how I wanted it structured, and kids are at the focal point. They are at the core. We're giving them voice and choice. So, and I'm glad, Amanda, you mentioned the book. It's Home Safe Home for You and Me. And we are making this like kind of like a requirement in all homes, no matter the home. And we say we are introducing a couple of ideas, and one of them is know that for the moment, which means right now, you are safe. So just to have this notion of right here, right now, don't think about the past, don't think about the future. You're safe right now. and we are introducing to kids, you know who makes you feel safe and free and respected and good. You kids know. So to give them voice and choice and to let them know that we believe you, we're not going to say, oh, you're making that up, you're exaggerating. No, however you said it, however you explained it, that's how it happened. That's your truth, you know. So, and we are encouraging kids to say, who do you feel safe with? Is it mom, dad, stepmom, stepdad? Well, what if it isn't? What if it isn't mom, dad, stepmom, stepdad? Maybe it's an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, a close family friend. So we're encouraging them to say the Osso Safe Kids cheer. And it goes like this. I want to live where I am Osso Safe, and I am Osso Safe with, and they get to fill in the blank. It could be mom, dad, stepmom, stepdad, but maybe it's an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, a close family friend. So to give them voice and choice to plant those seeds. And we realize kids could lie, right? And when I say lie, because they're scared, like what if it's mom and dad attacking them, stepmom, stepdad? They could lie and say, no, 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 I'm safe with mom and dad. But we know at Osso Safe that abusers can keep their poker face on for so long. Sooner than later, their abusive true colors will come out, and we will help you get to that safe person because we planted the seed with the book. So I wanted to create something that really speaks to kids of all ages, and the book helps them to give voice and choice. Yeah. So thank you so much for bringing that up.
I really wanted to bring it up because, I mean, it's for most kids, their abuser is not some unknown boogeyman hiding under the bed. It is definitely someone in their lives. And it's someone who is in that position of authority.
Yes, excellent point. In fact, the statistic is that 90% of kids that are uh, assaulted, sexually assaulted, especially, 90% of them know who that person is, which means it's either a mom, dad, stepmom, stepdad. It could be a boyfriend, a girlfriend, like the boyfriend and the girlfriend of the father and the mother, if there's divorce or they're separated. So that's why we at Osso Safe, we say, we will believe you kids. We will trust your we believe you, we trust you, and we realize, yeah, maybe kids fib, they stretch the truth a little bit, but what do you have to lose and gain by doing that? Believe them. Believe them. Because, yeah, if they fib, you'll find out. And more often than not, they're saying the truth. And it took a lot of courage to say that truth if they got attacked, like a teacher. A lot of people think that, and we're not saying don't respect your teachers, obviously respect your teachers, but what if they disrespect you? Well, you need to speak out. And we know it's scary, and we know that, wait a minute, how can I speak out? I'm the student, I'm the kid. No, speak out. And even if you don't speak out right away, you'll get the courage to speak out. That's why the book kind of plants that seed, as I mentioned. And even if it takes you a week, 10 days, a month, a couple of months to speak out, that's okay. Let it be okay. And we say that in the book, actually. If you're too afraid to say, that's okay. We meet you where you are. It's okay. If today is not good for you to speak out, that's okay. No pressure. You don't need more pressure. Kids don't need more pressure. So yes, I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Amanda, because um, the people that should be protecting the kids in a lot of cases, they are the perpetrators, you know. So, and I have to say, and you could either agree with me or disagree with me. And I can only speak from New Jersey because we're on the East Coast, but the laws, the courts, the judges, child protective service agencies, they are horrible, horrible. And thank you, Leta. Yeah, see, and what we're doing at Osso Safe, our intention is that you won't need the courts, you won't need the judges, you won't need child protective services. Everything gets resolved right in the home, because they have it so wrong. They make horrible matters even worse. So I designed the Osso Safe Home Sweet Home package so that way you won't even need the courts. You may have to call the police if the abuser doesn't want to leave, but we have it all in the documents. In order for you to live here, you have to act non-abusively. If you act abusively, you go, not the rest of the family. That's not abusive, but you, the abuser, whether it be mom, dad, stepmom, stepdad, whoever's the abuser, you gotta go, because I have to protect everybody else in the building, in the house, in the property. And you don't have to go to court. You just go, and you're not coming back. Child protective services, why call them? Why call them when they make matters even worse? And that's it.
The dog is in the background barking at a squirrel. That's what Lita's talking about over there. Yeah, I will say our child protective services are terrible. My sister got called.
Just gonna say, everyone. I can't say the words. Cause A, pregnant dogs at least raise their children right mentally. And B, yet still at least pregnant dogs at least raise their children to have sense.
Because I just said your aunt beforehand, I would like to say it wasn't your aunt who's that bad. She got child protective services called on her because the kids in the neighborhood went home, and my sister had an original Addie doll from the American Girl collection that she was locking in the room so the kids couldn't play with them. And one of the parents heard their kids talking about how my sister was locking Addie in a room so she couldn't play.
So who got called
My
on
sister, someone called on her locking her American Girl doll up, but they.
And this
I
is
appreciate.
why you make sure you teach your children early on in life how to properly use English.
The kids were going back to their parents from my sister's house, like just the neighborhood kids going, oh yeah, Miss Emily locks Addie in a room. And so one of the parents did what the right thing to do was and called the police, and the police show up, and my sister's.
They meant the doll. They meant the doll. Unless the doll suddenly
Yeah.
is possessed, they
Well,
meant the doll.
But
well,
they'll show up for that. And
yeah,
my sister was calling on an actual abuse case, and they're like, well, we don't think it's abusive yet. And she's like, so you'll show up because I have my doll locked in a room.
I know it's backwards. It's absolutely backwards. I know. And you would think that they would have enough experience, they have enough cases to decipher, to differentiate. uh um it's just absolutely mind-boggling. And I know here, like, the judges weigh what child protective services says a lot. Like, they shouldn't. They really shouldn't. They have it wrong more than they have it right. So see, and you're in Colorado, so like, I didn't know how things went in Colorado, but you just you just affirmed. I mean, this is across the country, really, and it's they really need to be. I hate to say it. If your job is to protect children and you're not doing that, you're making it even worse. You need to go. need to go. What is your purpose then? What is your purpose then? Go do something else. Go collect garbage. Go do, I don't know, engineering, put pipes together. But if you're in the business of protecting children and you're making it even worse where kids are being uh uh attacked even more and you don't even know that the kid is being abused, you don't think it's abuse yet. Well, what does that mean? And then that parent should have talked to your sister first before calling child protective services and get the truth, like get more of the truth and be like, I'm just trying to decipher what really happened before going to the extreme and getting child protective services involved when, like I said, they have it more wrong than right. And it's traumatizing. It's traumatizing I don't know about in Colorado, but they'll take the kid out of school and pepper them with questions. And then they do a 3-month investigation, you know.
She was lucky that her next door neighbor happened to be a high ranking state patrolman who stepped in and went before they even got to the house and went, "Yeah, it's her American Girl doll. Did you think to even check to see if she had a child named Daddy before you came out to investigate?"
Oh,
Well,
that's
that's
good. See?
good. How about we take all the child protective services people and all the very bad at their job cops?
Let's not
Yeah.
go to that extreme.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at least at a cartoon level, you know.
She Gen Alpha is going to be a very special generation with growing up during COVID.
Yes, right. Oh, yes, yes. I know. I had a question for you. Like therapy, we are big proponents of therapy. I'd also say, in fact, I have included therapy as part of your home life. But good therapists, like therapists that do a 1 month check-in under Osso Safe just to make sure everything is okay versus waiting for an episode of violence or abuse to occur, because then, not that it's too late, but it could have been preventative. Do you find that therapists are also need education? Or yes, okay.
So our current medical and psychology degrees do not include any education on autism.
Wow. My goodness. Oh my
So
goodness.
you can actually be prescribing meds to these kids and did not have to learn about ADHD or autism, which I think is why they're over prescribing meds that we know don't work. But it also, I know all of my therapists I ever had no training in autism, and that's who I was going to for dealing with a very traumatic situation. And that did not help. It just added more trauma because they wanted me to act neurotypical. Though looking back, I'm like, I was 10 when I went through this. What the heck makes any of you guys think I could just brush it off?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah, see, this is very eye-opening for us at Also Safe, and this is so good that we're having this conversation because um yeah, you're in the profession of improving people's mental state and they definitely overprescribe in this country. And I get the feeling that you agree, and I'm so glad, because I mean, meds have their place, I guess, but it's another area where if you have good therapy, I think that will replace the meds and just that connection and understanding and listening and practicing that respect over and over again. I think that you'll go further than just medicating and numbing. Would you agree, Amanda and
Yeah,
Lita?
yeah, especially she's heard me talk about it. She has not been on meds and may have gotten her anti-med stance from me. their way of dealing with my what we would now call compounded PTSD was, oh, well, we'll just keep upping your meds until the PTSD goes away. And it turns out that wasn't helpful.
Right. She's not on any meds?
She is not, well, she's on Zyrtec, but outside of
Okay.
Zyrtec, she's not on any meds.
Wow, that's awesome, Lita. Oh my gosh. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Oh my gosh. That is so great. That is, see, because people, certain people that when we do this work and everything, it's like a automatic, well, meds, meds, meds. And I actually made this into a post and because I got a lot of or enough pushback from even kids, I would say from different ages, like, oh, I wish I was on meds even younger, and if it wasn't for meds, I would have never been able to graduate high school. So, and I said in the post, I said, look, if there is no abuse at home, no abuse, there's no violence, abuse, chaos, dysfunction, then okay, meds, I guess, can have their place to a certain degree. But if there is abuse, violence, chaos, dysfunction, no amount of medication is going to help the situation. None, not even a drop. So establish that there's no abuse, because if there's abuse, you have to correct that. And that means you either get removed from that toxic home life, or those parents and step parents need to be removed from your life. And that way you can get on the road to healing. Wow, Lita, I'm so proud of you. Oh my gosh, this is so great to hear. So great to hear. And with your permission, I'm going to use you. I mean, I'm not going to say your name or anything, but I'm going to say, look, I interviewed with a mom and a daughter. The daughter's autistic, and she's not on any meds except for one, and she is functioning. She has a dance studio. She goes to school. And she's got no meds, practically no meds, and she's doing it. So don't tell me that you have to medicate yourself and numb yourself. Oh my gosh, Lita, you're so
The
awesome.
I will say, having severe ADHD along with my autism, one thing I found out later in life from her developmental pediatrician whose son went cold turkey like I did on the meds, he was like, yeah, it turns out occupational therapy gives you the building blocks to deal with your ADHD. The meds just mask everything.
Yes,
As a
yes,
plus,
excellent.
as a plus makes your brain go, hello, yes, how about we just go kill ourselves? And
Let
get
me
you
explain that
depression.
real quick. Because the ADHD brain fires so quickly, the meds actually suppress the firing, which causes damage to the internal organs because they're used to getting that um, right away. And so you're not meaning to go off yourself. It's just your body is now slowing down like you're aging faster, which is probably one of the reasons autistic and ADHD women and men have a shorter lifespan than their neurotypical counterparts. The lifespan of women on medicine is 40 years less than their neurotypical counterparts. And it's like, something's wrong
You're
here.
gonna die quicker on those meds. You're gonna die quicker on those meds. You're gonna die, die, die.
Stop that. She's kind of anti the meds because they don't tell you this. Like, I've talked to friends of mine who've been on the meds since they're adults, and I'm like, you do know that that's slowing down not just your metabolism, but like your heart rate. And they're like, no one told me it was slowing down my heart.
Wow, this is so great. Oh my gosh, Amanda. Wow, see, you and Lita, I'm going to use you as proof. I'm actually, I know a few people close. They're close to myself, uh, and they insist, Sabrina, you don't know what you're talking about. Our kids, they need to be on meds. They have ADHD, and they the meds are helping. Meanwhile, the one child, she's 13, and she's been on meds a few years, and I could see it's making her, I don't want to say the word, like, just unintelligent. She was intelligent before, and now, and it breaks my heart because, and it's the parents that are abusive. That's what it is. The parents are abusive, and they're using the meds to numb their children so that way they're more agreeable and more this is what I think, because I'm standing on the outside and I'm seeing it happen, and they won't listen. And it's the parents that need to do the work. They need to do the work on themselves because they're ruining perfectly normal children. Yes, maybe they're a little slower. I don't even like to use that word. They're just learning on a different level. And this girl, she's very intelligent. She's very strong in math and science, whereas on other areas, like I guess language arts, or, she needs help, extra help. Who doesn't
Yeah.
need extra help? But they have her on all of these drugs, and I get upset, and I made the child aware because she's very dear to my heart, um, and the parents obviously got upset, and oh my gosh, and oh my
A
gosh, I'm
lot of,
so glad I'm talking to you because you're
I mean,
proof.
a lot of the neurotypical parents also don't understand their neurodivergent kid is physically different than them. We have now, the brain scans are coming out now in the last 2 years, and our brains, it's not that they fire differently, they are made differently. These
Wow.
meds are made for neurotypical people. They're made for a totally different brain.
Wow. See?
But there's been no testing on, ignoring the fact that there was no testing on children. We're giving the meds to kids who, these drugs have all been tested on 30-plus-year-old white men. But a lot of these parents, because I know one thing my parents have always said is, well, we didn't know any better. We didn't research it ourselves. And I'm like, I'm not a big fan of Dr. Google, but she had a shot she was getting, and the nurse said, if something happens, give her Tylenol for the reaction. And I'm like, you do understand, have you ever read the booklet? And the nurse was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, if I give her Tylenol, it will negate the shot because it will stop the reaction and make it where the shot you just gave her for a very important disease I don't want her to have,
Oh
she
my
is not going
goodness.
to.
Yeah, yeah.
And the
Wow.
nurse just looked at me and started flipping through it. And she's like, oh my gosh, this is what I always tell parents when I'm giving the Varicella shot is that. And I'm like, she's had her MMR shot. I'm not a fan of mumps, measles, rubella. So she has had that MMR shot because I don't want her to get it. She is not inoculated against measles because it just didn't take. And, which is always fun to explain to people. No, she is vaccinated. She's just not inoculated. There's two separate sides.
Wow.
And a lot of parents don't go into the medical. They suddenly get this diagnosis. They don't realize that it's a medical thing. With autism, with ADHD, there's also GI problems that everyone has. The
Let's do talk about that.
boys have an 82% chance of developing grand mal seizures. Girls have a greater than 60% chance of developing silent seizures. Most of these guys are getting their diagnosis from a general practitioner who got 1 week on what autism was, maybe.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm not taking my dog to a veterinarian who does not understand the meds that the dog needs to be on. Why am I taking my child to a doctor? And you'll notice a lot of these parents, I'm like, did you go to the developmental pediatrician? Did you go to the behavioral psychiatrist? Did you go to the neurological pediatrician? And they're like, no, I didn't do that. And I'm like, why didn't you go to the specialist? And they're like, oh, I didn't know there was a specialist for this. And I'm like, are you?
Why did you put your child on Earth? If you're not gonna care this, for this thing like you care for a pet, why did you put it on Earth? Last time I took your child, didn't ask to live. Why did you put it on Earth? Jeez Louise, these people acting like they
Right,
like
right.
people who get farmed that don't know how to use a farming and farm for livestock. And don't even know how to take care of livestock. But there are people who don't know how to take care of horses and yet get a horse anyways. And then wonder why the horse died.
Yeah, it's all related. It's all related. It's almost as if you have to be your own doctor and educate the doctors, the nurses, the therapists, the school, the teachers, you have to do your own work and educate them in order to get the care that you need. And I have to say, you're probably better off. And I mean, you're certainly educating me, and and like it sounds like you're so in tune to what's going on with Leta, and it's helping others who are lost and they need help. They need tools, and why should your kid be an experiment? This is not
I don't
right.
think a lot of people understand that their kids are experiments. They're like, oh, well, this is a drug that the pharmacist even gave me, so it should be safe. And it's like, I was put on Paxil as a child, and now you would never put a child on Paxil.
Right, I know, right? What they used to do years and years ago after studies and more research, they won't even do. I can't tell you, Lita, how proud I am. You and your mom, my goodness, that you're only on one med, and you're basically you're yourself, you're not like numb and a zombie and like, 'cause then you'll have to, as you get older, you'll have to, like, it's like going through withdrawals and a addiction, and it's crazy because other countries don't do this to their parents. I'm Italian, and in Italy they would never drug their kid. I mean, it's, they're like, Sabrina, this is just, is that like we hear, is it true? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's true. This is what they're doing here in the States. And I love Lita. She's doing this. That's Italian. She's doing this.
It's
She's
also
doing the
a
right thing.
very common
That's
autism and
so great.
neurotypical thing or
That's so great.
neurodivergent
It's a
thing.
very common thing in New Mexico just because everybody likes doing it. And the Latinos. And the Latinos.
It
That's
is
so
very
great. I saw
common
her do
within.
it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's Italian. She's got to be Italian.
She's
I'm not. The name does make people wonder it though.
That's so great.
it,
Gosh, you're doing so great. I ho- I
and
want to continue this conversation because I
I
feel
know,
like
and I just saw the
you know,
time. Is there a way we can have you back on the podcast in a few months to continue?
sure, yeah, definitely, definitely, and I'm so I feel like I hope I provided education, but I feel like I got so educated and my eyes open to, people really need to it all boils down to respect, and boundaries and everything. And good for you, Lita. Good for you. Good for you and your mom. You stood your ground, and now you have this podcast and your dance studio. And yes, definitely, we're definitely going to come back in a couple of months. I already notated it for a return episode part 2. And
We may have to have a part
uh,
3, a part 4, or part 5 because this is a very in-depth topic.
yeah, and a necessary one. So
Oh yes.
necessary.
Sabrina, where can they find Osso Safe on the web?
Yes, our website is ossosafe.com. We're on all the major social media platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. The 2 platforms that are just for kids is the YouTube and TikTok. I think it's under Sabrina Osso, Osso Safe. It'll come up. We dedicate it to kids of all ages, teeny tiny through high school, and we talk about abuse, we talk about warning signs, we talk about what makes a positive friendship, a positive relationship, how to protect yourself if you're getting bullied, what are some tips that you could put into practice right away. And then the children's book is on Amazon as well as other book selling platforms. But those are the best ways to reach out. And Lita, before we hang up, I want to know, do you have a favorite tap step? It's okay. You
Alphabet.
don't. Okay, that's okay. That's okay.
We did put snuck wings into her studio name. And I have to explain that to people because they're like, oh, like butterfly wings because the logo's a butterfly. And I'm like, it's also tap.
That's right. That's right. The wings. Yes, yes. Very good. Very good. I
And it's
like
like,
I like the shim sham, the shim sham step in tap, and uh, um, I take flamenco as well, you know, so they go hand in hand, the tap with the flamenco and everything. Do you? Do you take flamenco
she is not since we've moved away from
I'm
New
rusty.
Mexico.
since you moved away from New Mexico?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't
Okay.
done it since I was 7.
Oh wow. Well, I'm sure you'll go back to it and you can include it in your dance studio, you know? And then you could get shoes from Menkes. Menkes in New York, Menkes. They have everything flamenco, everything. Shoes, skirts, the tops, the everything.
Looking
Yeah,
at me,
yeah.
or you can just go raid Santa Fe Ballet's costuming room. I'm sure they won't notice.
There you
I'm pretty
go.
sure
There you
they'll
go.
notice. I'm pretty sure they'll
we
notice.
might we might need to have you on just for an entire discussion on dance one of these days.
I would love that. I would love that. We could do that. We could totally do that. Yes, yes. And I love those tap shoes, girl. Ooh, I love them. They are awesome. I never saw tap shoes like that, let me tell you. Yeah. Uh the colors, the block colors and I love it. I love it.
They did an amazing job, and they designed that heart puzzle embroidery was a surprise. She's the only one they've done that for because it's supposed to show that they love their little autistic dancer.
Awesome, awesome. That is so great. And to have that support and that understanding and respect, that is so good. And that's how it should be, you know?
Oh,
It
yes.
can be done. It can be done because it is being done. So that is so great. Oh, this was
Well,
so great.
it was amazing having you on, Sabrina. Thank you for coming. Did you want to say something, Lita?
This is an hour now. You might want
She's
to
my
go
little
quicker.
producer.
It went by so fast. It went by so fast. I can't even believe it. We started on time.
Yes.
This was so much
But yeah,
fun. This was so
we will make
educational.
we're definitely going to have you back again. We will have the link in the description below and on the website. Thank you so much, Sabrina.
Thank you. Thank you, Lita. Thank you, Amanda. This was so great.
Bye.
Hello, thank you for watching the podcast and please subscribe and also look at the adorable paper. So if you want to subscribe for it and also please leave a like. And don't forget if you subscribe to us, stuff you won't miss any of our new podcast feeds. And also did you see the adorable paper? Don't you like it?